Assessed values for single family homes in the Fraser Valley are up in the neighborhood of 30 to 40% year over year. We hear stories of lack of supply in the market, multiple offers, and prices selling for over asking. To help us navigate through these headlines and through the data, we're bringing out Randy Dyck with the Eximus Team. Randy and his team have sold thousands of homes in the Fraser Valley, helping both homeowners and investors buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So Randy, let's dive right into it. Who is the Eximus Team? How did it get started?
Boy, that's a journey. I started real estate in 1992, was a single agent, then thought owning an office would be a great idea, and I bought into an office and realized how challenging that was. Almost babysitting adults, so to speak. So through the process, I thought, there's a better way to do real estate. So I sold that brokerage to another brokerage and joined Remax in 2001. And I was there almost 20 years. And when I started with Remax, I realized that the team concept was the way to go. And it was actually a better model than owning a brokerage, I thought. So early in 2002, I started building what was called the Randy Dyck real estate team at the time. And then through the course of time, I changed the name to the Eximus real estate team, which Eximus, the Latin root of Eximus means uncommon, exceptional, extraordinary, and superb. So that's where the name came from. I wanted to have something of meaning behind the name. And we started that in 2002. And here we are in 2022. Holy cow, 20 years later and still working on teams. So it's been a fun ride. It's been a way to meet and challenge a lot of people and challenge myself. Sometimes you have to be the teacher, and if you're going to be the teacher, the coach, or the mentor, you need to learn a lot of things before you go out and share. And so it was really, really beneficial to me on my leadership side of things to build a team, and it's been just a great ride.
Yeah, very cool to hear your story and transitioning into the more of a team role. And your team is focused there in the Fraser Valley. And what areas of the valley does your team service?
Well, it's expanding because our team is expanding. So I've got an agent that lives in New West. So now we're kind of working all the way from New West to the Hope area. And in fact, we've done a few deals outside of the Fraser Valley as well recently, because the market's just allowed us to push out or to find other properties outside of the Fraser Valley. But generally, Surrey to Chilliwack is our marketplace that we service.
And I saw a great photo on Facebook this week about your first business car there from you believe it was kind of 95, and from then to today, there's been so much change. Talk about the activity levels that you're seeing in the market today. Give some commentary on that.
Yeah, the market, the market's a living organism, so to speak, and it's always growing and shrinking and growing and shrinking. And, it's such an incredible ride that we've been on. And being that I've started real estate in 1992, I've seen many different markets, as many of you have seen. But this market that we've been in now for, it's roughly 10 years that we've seen like this progressive market with some ebbs and flows in it, but it is so strong right now. And when I speak with newer agents, they don't know what it's like to have a listing sit on the market for 200 or 300 days. The other day I was on a listing appointment, and these are past clients, and I looked up the history, and when I sold them that house was on the market for 226 days or something before they bought it. And then they bought it at $195,000. And today we're talking about $1.3 million.
Wow.
And that isn't that long ago. That was in 2000. So it's been quite a ride.
Yeah, that's crazy. And, to touch on how hot the market has been and how quickly things are going, many of these properties having multiple offers going for over asking price. What advice are you giving your sellers right now?
Great question. I'm just going to use Abbotsford as an example, but this is basically relevant to every marketplace right now. In Abbotsford, so a city of 65,000 people, Right now on the system, there's only 99 single family homes for sale. There's only 37 townhomes actively on MLS for sale. And there's only 35 condos. So here's a city of 160, 65,000 people, and probably half of those are under contract. So we're less than 75, 80 properties that are available for that kind of a marketplace. And of course, many, many people looking. So what's my advice to sellers? Well, be careful what you wish for, because you may get more than you think, and then you can't find what you want. So, it's the process. Should you be buying first, then selling? That would be my thinking. Or, a clause that we sometimes put in contracts where it's subject to the seller finding something, which you hate that clause as an agent, but to protect the seller and making sure that they find their next place, that would be a clause. So that's a really tricky thing right now for the sellers. And an interesting thing, sellers that are thinking about moving west, or let's say from the eastern part of the valley to the western part of the valley, or even Vancouver, there's been no better time. The market has gone up substantially more in the eastern part of the valley, and the price differentiate between the east and the west has never been closer in my 30 years of selling real estate. So if there's sellers thinking about making a move to Vancouver or Surrey for lifestyle changes or whatever it may be from the eastern part of the valley, never a better time. Buyers, well, I mean, if you're a buyer right now, you've got to be thinking, I have to spend at least 10% or more over list to get into the marketplace. So, before you even start the search, just start, putting on your big boy pants and saying, listen, I'm going to probably pay 10 points more or more to get into the marketplace. And you should be doing that sooner than later, because with this inventory level being at all-time lows, I can't see anything but price increases continuing to go on throughout 2022. I just did a quick look. Right now, there's only 1,673 active listings in all of the Fraser Valley. And I remember many, many years where we would have close to 10,000 listings on the system. And right now we're at 1,673. Now, yes, it's seasonal, it's January, but still that's all-time lows.
That's quite a difference, and that was a really good point that you brought up there about the do I buy a new house before I sell my original house, or which direction do I go in, and then to follow up that point on, it's quite a challenging time to be a buyer, and sort of that mental preparation to pay a little bit more to achieve that property. Aside from sort of that mental preparation of I'm going to have to pay maybe over asking to get the property that I want. Pre-approval meeting with a mortgage broker, what are some of the things that you work on with your buyers prior to them going out shopping with you? What are some of the things you'd like them to accomplish before you guys start looking at some properties?
Yes, mindset is number one. So you got to have the mindset that you're entering a crazy world where it's just not normal, and you're going to have some ups and downs. It's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. So be prepared for that. So mindset's number one. Make sure you're pre-approved, as you're mentioning, Taylor, and make sure that you've got a pre-approval letter ready to go. Make sure you've got a deposit check, a draft ready to go as well. So that money's ready to go when you present your offer. You want that to be there. Have a written letter of who you are, what's your passions, why do you love this neighborhood, why do you want to live in this city, pictures of your kids, your dog, whatever it is, the emotional piece of that, to at least do some connectivity. And I'm going to say work with an agent that is really well respected in the community that you're looking to buy in, because an agent can be the difference maker in many, many deals. There's been oftentimes that my buyer has not had the strongest offer, but I've gotten a call back. Randy, would you like to improve your offer? And I think that's just because I've got a few years in the business. I think, pretty well respected in the community, and I get deals done. So agents want to work with agents that are, productive, good, ethical, dominating agents.
Yeah, I just got into the market myself here on the North Shore, so could have used a little bit of insight, maybe some of those pointers heading into it, because it was definitely a whirlwind of experience. Good experience. Happy to be obviously in the market. Exciting times, but you can't always foresee all the things that are going to come at you.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you're looking at different projects all in the Greater Vancouver area. Is there one development in specific that's you're most excited for here in this year?
There's so many great developments coming up, but a couple of them that I really like in the eastern part of the valley are leasehold properties on First Nations land. And a lot of them are not getting the multiple offer situation, so you can step into the market without competing with a lot of other buyers. And because of their leased land and the way they can work out some zoning within themselves, there's some really cool developments happening where there's almost a triplex on one property. So Cedarbrook, for instance, in Chilliwack, which is just off the Lickman exit. So it's the first exit into Chilliwack, so it's not too deep into Chilliwack, makes the commute a little bit easier. That has a 2-story home with a legal basement suite and a coach home. So you've got essentially a triplex or 3 units. And of course, they've been selling at a very brisk rate, so they've been increasing prices, but they're just at about $1 million, $1.2 million right now for that kind of a property. And also, there's no GST on leased land. So that's a pretty exciting project. And there's also another one near Garrison in Chilliwack called Iron Horse, which is very similar, has a lot of the same attributes that Cedarbrook has. So those are a couple that I really like for single family. And I think the cash flow in those is exceptional compared to buying a townhouse or a condo or a row home. So those are 2 that I really like.
That's a great point, and that kind of leads into my next question. And to circle back to what you talked about the leasehold land, we had your teammate Jordan Spitters on one of our recent investment summits, and he had also highlighted the opportunity there on leasehold land. So the question I have is, where would you point your investors for cash flow right now? And then the second part to that question is, what are some of the pros and the cons of purchasing leasehold land? And in your personal opinion, how do you see an exit strategy like that unfolding on a property like that?
Yeah, Jordan did a great job on that presentation. And leasehold has always been one of those things. Well, I don't know, should we not? But with the lack of land, you start losing opportunities elsewhere. And so that is why leasehold is becoming so popular. Maybe a downside of leasehold is that the end number may not be as good, so the appreciation may not be as good. And I know Jordan's run through these numbers, and it's in that 8 to 10% ratio where the appreciation hasn't happened quite as strong as, let's say, freehold. However, you're also buying at a lower number, so you just need to know, hey, I'm buying at a low number, I'm going to sell at a lower number, but the cash flow out of those is exceptional. And because it's not freehold, you've got the 3 units, which if it was freehold, you'd only have 2 units, not 3 units that are legally rentable. So those are kind of the pros and the cons of that. Cash flow, those are the best cash flow properties that I know of in the valley right now. And, the strata fees tend to hurt the condos and the townhomes because those fees just keep going up and up and up. So I have some concerns about the cash flow that you're going to get out of stratified property versus freehold single family homes with up down, or in this case up down and a coach home. However, we live in the valley, but I think there's some great opportunities outside of the valley or outside of even BC, and we see Calgary and Edmonton really getting strong. Ontario has some great markets that are just really going gangbusters as well as far as the appreciation, but the prices are still considerably less. The entry is considerably less in some of those outlying areas outside of Toronto, just because they have more land to work with than we do here in the Fraser Valley. We're really limited on land, so that's what's really driving the prices up.
Awesome. And earlier in our conversation, you had talked about the comparison between downtown pricing right now and the Valley, and how it's very, very similar, probably the most similar it's been in a while. Can you touch on, during the COVID, there's a lot of news around people leaving downtown, searching for more space, more affordability. What would something right now look like if you sold, say, $1.5 million condo downtown and was to look to move to the Fraser Valley?
Great question. And when I say that the prices are similar between the Valley and downtown, the gap or the price difference has never been closer, but it's still significant. So
Yeah.
$1.3 million condo downtown or $1.5 million condo downtown, that'll get you a really great house in the eastern part of the Valley. In Chilliwack, it would get you an absolute mansion. In Abbotsford, you'd still get a very nice house. It'd probably be, in that 25-year-old house to 10-year-old house on a 6,000 square foot lot in a good neighborhood. $1.3 million to $1.5 million would get you that. As you move into Langley, then you're getting into, older properties, smaller square footage. You'd be somewhere in that 2,200 square feet to get something in that $1.3 million to $1.5 million. So it just depends on where you're at and what you want. What's important to you as a buyer? Is it space? Is it the neighborhood? Is it walkability? That all kind of changes depending on what you want and where you want to be.
And did you personally see that? Did you personally see that trend happening? Were you working with people that were saying, "Hey, I live downtown. My work doesn't want me in the office. I've got some more flexibility with where I need to be." Did you personally deal with clients like that?
Many clients like that, yes. And in some cases, they liquidated downtown. In some cases, they held their property downtown and made the move out to the Valley. But interestingly, even people in the Valley were making that move and disappearing as well. They were going into the interior. We've had so many people sell and move into the interior, and even some of them moving as far east as Newfoundland, because that work lifestyle relationship, they could do that from anywhere. And so we've had people exiting out of even the Fraser Valley to go somewhere else where, again, they're what I like to call halfers. So they're selling, and then they only have to spend half their money on getting that new place that's a more beautiful place or a larger place or more land, and put half in the bank. Call them halfers, not heifers like livestock, but halfers.
That's awesome. And you've sold thousands of homes over the course of your career. You and your team are a top team. What's the mindset of an everyday? What's your mindset going into every day, and how do you stay on the top of your game? Give us a little insight into your mindset and your routine there.
Yeah, we often talk about that in the office and talk about that on the team, and the power of consistency. Russell Wilson has this quote: "Love the life of consistency, or love the boredom of consistency." That's his quote. Love the boredom of consistency. And, if you do anything well and you do it day in and day out, success follows. So that's one of the things, just love the boredom of consistency. But we just walked through something like this in our office, and we call it the gargantuan competitive advantage. I don't know if you want me to share it, but it's cool. So the gargantuan competitive advantage, number one, always be early. I mean, that's a given, always be early. Clear out diversions. Don't get caught up in all the other things. Make sure that you really know what you're doing and simplify what you're doing. Under promise, then over deliver. I mean, these are just common things, but it seems like we don't always do it. So under promise, then over deliver. Number 4 would be protect world-class standards. You got to set standards for yourself. What is that standard? And then what is that standard that you're going to give to your clients? So if you protect them and make them world-class, success will happen. Pursue granularity instead of superficiality. Go deep with people, and don't just be superficial. Like, really be authentic and hit it hard. Show aliveness would be number 6. And sometimes I have to be careful with that because I'm a pretty enthusiastic guy. And so you have to kind of measure your aliveness or your enthusiasm with who you're being with. But you got to be alive, and you got to set your bar a little higher than everybody else in the room so you're noticed, which I know you guys do. And then, of course, come to play. It's showtime. You always have to be ready to do your thing and make sure that you're prepared. So come to play.
Yeah, mindset's key. I played professional sports as an athlete for many years, and without a mindset, you can go out there as a team and not see it. But when you kind of come together, and you know exactly what to do and when to do it, as you say, you come to play. So that was great insight. I really appreciated all of that. And as you work in real estate and you help your clients find real estate, but maybe touch on a personal investor side of things. Has there been one deal you've been a part of that's been super successful? Maybe your best deal you've been a part of in the last 5 years?
Well, it seems like everything we've touched the last few years has turned to gold. So it's hard to pick one. But one I'm really excited about right now is a 3-acre industrial park. And so that was just a bare land, and we bought it, and we've done tilt-up warehousing, and we've got exceptional tenants moving in, great rents. And what we're finding is the tenants, they're such quality tenants. COVID, as well as the way technology just keeps disrupting businesses. And so one of those things that really took off with COVID and technology is, the online shopping, and distribution is a really important piece to that. So we're finding that we're having distribution hubs out in the valley, small distribution hubs, because everybody wants their toy that they ordered online yesterday, whatever they ordered online yesterday, to be there within 24 hours or less. And so we've got some great tenants, a couple that are in the distribution business like that. But clean businesses. So I'm really excited about that park. And then we've also got a mini storage facility that we've just put up, and it's filling up very, very quickly. That's out in the Garrison area, and small condos and small homes. So everybody needs a place to put their junk, and bring it on down, and we'll take care of it for you. So those are a couple that are pretty exciting that I've been part of recently.
I love the self-storage asset class, the whole kind of lock it and leave it business model, and very low overhead. And as you said, the condos are only getting smaller, not bigger, and everyone seems to have tons of toys and junk. And so at the end of the day, you need a place to put them. Give us a kind of an overview of the market in terms of days on market pricing, condos, townhomes, single family homes. I know you touched on the lack of overall supply. I think you mentioned close to 100 available units in the Abbotsford market, but kind of touch on pricing, how quickly things are moving.
Everything would sell on the first day if you let it. We could actually have DOM of one day in most cases, but of course the process now with the listing is to create an event around it and have this open house tour and show go on, and then have offer presentation 6, 7, 8 days later. So most of the product is selling, if you look on the system, days on market in that 7, 8 days. But truthfully, they would all sell on the first day if we allowed people to make that offer on the first day. So days on market, 0. Call it 0 really for all purposes. As far as appreciation and increasing price, it seems like it moves every week. And like last year, depending on the month, the prices were moving 3 to 5% in the eastern part of this Fraser Valley per month. So every month the market moved 3 to 5%. And I can't see that changing unless interest rates really go crazy here. But I don't see that happening. But again, I'm not a financial analyst, but I just don't see interest rates being pressed too hard in the upward direction.
Yeah, and one asset class that I'd love to learn more about, and there seems to be a lot of momentum recently with, is pre-sale projects. What's your point of view on these pre-sale projects, and what are some pros and cons that come with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pre-sales are a bit polarizing, that question. Some will love it, and some will hate pre-sales. And it really depends on the trend of the market, the cycle of the market. If the cycle is trending up, or we're in a strong market, of course, pre-sales are really great, but you hate to buy them at the top of the market. and then you close 2-3 years later and it's in a slump. That's the challenge. That's the downside. That's the con, is that you didn't time the purchase. But if you time the purchase right, I mean, it's phenomenal. And I mean, there's been so much success in the last few years with the pre-sales. Here's an example. I mean, I'm part of a condo development here in Abbotsford as a developer. And we started our pre-sales 2 years ago, and it was a bit challenging because the market was just kind of, about 2.5 years ago now, the market was just kind of like taking a breath, and it wasn't quite sure if it was going sideways up. It wasn't going down, but it was just kind of going sideways. And we were worried as developers because, you know, how's this going to go? And we had very few pre-sale buyers coming in. However, the ones that did come in, you know, they're up about $150 per square foot today. Wow. So they're winning big time. They're winning big time. So I think it's a, you know, it's a little bit more risky. There's no doubt about that. You have to really understand cycles in the market and know what's happening. And probably the most important thing I can give for advice, if you're going to buy a pre-sale, is make sure that you've got a mortgage as a buyer, as a pre-sale buyer, locked in, so the rates are held for you, because when the market changes, banks may not want to lend you the money if you haven't got that locked in. So that would be a really big piece of advice I would give. It's going to cost you more potentially, but the security of knowing that that's there is very important.
Thanks for sharing those points, and a quick shout out to our rain friend Bruno with the Natura project there in Abbotsford. So I know we all know each other here through the rain group, and hopefully one of these days we can all start to rub shoulders again there soon. And to kind of touch on the point there, you talked about interest rates and what that impact could have. How do you see that playing out for the Fraser Valley market? Do you see interest rates pulling more people towards the valley? How do you see that impacting both kind of demand in the market and pricing?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's play it out. Let's just say tomorrow there's an interest rate change of let's call it 1%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot when you're talking $1.3 million, $1.4 million, $2 million, whatever for that property, or even $800,000 for a condo these days are in the valley. You know, so that does play a pretty heavy weight on that potential buyer. So it minimizes that buyer's potential buying power. But I think what that would do is it would push a lot of people to make a decision very quickly because they've got rates locked in. So it would put even more pressure in the marketplace, force prices up for the next, 30, 60, 90 days, depending on how many pre-approvals are in the system and locked in rates. But then we may see a bit of a slowdown because of we've burned up a lot of those buyers already because of the locked in mortgages, and then the prices I think would just settle down for a while. It's kind of things going in opposite directions. So your buying power is going down and the prices are going up. Like that will just cause an effect to slow things down and maybe plateau prices for a time.
Sounds like there's lots of areas of opportunity out there. If anyone was interested in getting in contact with you to look at some of these properties, what's the best way for them to reach out and get in contact?
Well, if you Google Randy Dyck, that would be one way, or the Eximus Real Estate Team, or my cell number is 604-807-4366 would be another way, or randy@eximus.com would be another way. So Google me, you'll find me.
Google me. I love it.
Randy, thank you very much for joining Austin and I today for this interview. We really enjoyed hearing what's going on in the Fraser Valley market, you sharing your expertise and your knowledge in that marketplace, and make it a great day. And we'll chat with you here again soon.
Thank you so much, Taylor and Austin. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Randy.
Take care.